Welcome back to my channel. My name is Uche once again, and I'm here with a colleague and a very good friend. His name is Charlie. I'll let Charlie introduce himself. Hi, Charlie.
Hi. Yeah, my name is Charles Alege. I'm a DP and a VFX supervisor, VFX artist.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie doesn't like to spend much time talking about the things that he's achieved and that he's done, and so I'll just help him break some things down. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff together. We've worked together on D-Chase, a limited series on Showmax. We've also worked on Itura, which is a 260 episode series on Showmax and on African Magic. We worked on Rihanna as well, and we worked on Chetam. We actually did something recently, but it's not yet out, there's no point talking about it yet. However, it will form the basis of some of the things that we would talk about in the course of the episode. Stay tuned.
Definitely.
So before we go into the meat of the topic, I think for the benefit of some of us who are not fully aware of the term VFX, because I had to do a bit of reading as well so that I don't make any assumptions. I think, Charlie, it'll be best for you to just give us a quick brief definition of what VFX is.
Okay, so VFX is actually kind of broken down into several elements, because there's actually special effects, which is referred to as SFX.
Okay.
But then there's SFX, which is also sound.
Yeah.
So the abbreviations gets mixed up sometimes.
Yeah.
So special effects most of the time is very practical.
Okay.
So for instance, in the early days where there was no computer generated way of creating environments or effects or explosions, everything would be done practically.
Okay.
So that would be a special effect, but the techniques vary. So if you have a budget, a small budget, and you wanted to blow up a car, you may not blow up a full-size car. You might blow up a scaled down model of a car.
Okay.
But then you'd have to look at some of the technical aspects of that. How big is the explosion going to be? How long is the explosion going to last on screen? So you'd have to vary your frame rate to allow for your explosions to look enormous and for the movement to be exaggerated. So it makes everything else look heavier on screen and bigger on screen.
I see.
So special effects incorporated using miniatures, using all sorts of, that's one kind of aspect of special effects.
Okay.
Then visual effects is most times a mixture of stuff that you've shot live and stuff that you've used CG for.
Okay.
Now that there's a lot of software for creating environments, matte paintings, which are worlds that you've created on screen. Let's say, for instance, you want to be on a fantasy world. You'd in the earlier days, they'd paint the actual environment and then shoot the live action and then inject the live action onto the painted. But nowadays we'd use a computer to generate a 3D model of an environment and shoot the live action against a green screen and add that to it. So it can be anything. It's a mixture of different things, and then you've got CGI, which is computer generated.
That was where I was coming to. The term CGI, which is computer generated imagery. And I've made the error of using the two words interchangeably in the past. And when I was preparing for this topic, I actually decided I don't want to make any assumptions anymore. Let me just figure out what they are, if there's a difference and all that. And I found out that there was a difference. So I feel like it'll be great to share, what the difference is between CGI, which is computer generated imagery, and VFX, which is video.
The thing is, CGI can be incorporated into VFX. It's, for instance, if you take an example of, say, you wanted to create a city. You didn't have a budget to go to, say, New York, but you wanted to create a city. And have your location that you're shooting in is, say, Nigeria. You want to create a city, New York skyline, but your subjects are actually being shot here against the green screen. You can actually generate create the 3D models of the locations that you want to use. Shoot all your plates against the green screen and incorporate the two things together. The CGI element is that computer generated imagery. Then your live action combined with that gives you your visual effect.
So now there's the other aspect of the topic that is a concern, and in my experience I've had to ask this question to some of my colleagues, and we've had conversations about it, and it's this: is VFX to be considered as purely a post-production responsibility, or does it have significant on-set requirements?
It's important to have, if you're making a film or a series or some kind of content where there's a lot of fantasy and there's a lot of VFX involved, it's good to have a VFX consultant or VFX artist or supervisor as part of the beginning plans of the initial plans of the series, because it's always good to get advice on how things can be achieved. And in terms of creating worlds, VFX is always important in terms of being able to help with your budget. I'm not saying it should be the be all and end all, because it's always good to have locations that you, of course. But if it's the circumstances don't allow, you can actually have work in conjunction with production designer and create the same spaces, but use practical sets for say 50% of that, and then have CGI or to build VFX to build the set extensions. But the thing is, you have to have VFX on set while you're filming these scenes, because sometimes we have to set up markers because of movement. Sometimes we have to choose the right colors. If you're shooting in a forest, you don't want to use green.
Of course.
So, technically we have to be there to make sure things get done properly. Usually you'll have a separate unit that deals with VFX. The VFX like DP and the whole full crew. You'll be measuring heights of cameras, focal lengths. You record everything basically, because you need that information, your lens information, for when you go to post, and you have to put that information as a part of your tracking data into the software, whether it be 3D animation software or tracking software such as After Effects, DaVinci, that have those facilities in. So it's always good to have the VFX team work in the early stages of the production, because it also helps the production designer expand their ideas as well and bring their thoughts to life.
And then also to understand how best VFX can assist in production design. All right, so it brings us to the meat of the story. Should VFX artists or VFX supervisors collaborate with production designers on a project?
They should. The thing is, one of the main problems we have with say producers, it starts with producers really. Producers need to bring in the right teams together based on projects, right? So the thing is, sometimes you'll have a situation as an artist where you get a call to say, we've got this film that we've made, past tense, right? So we've made this film and we need some VFX for these scenes.
I see.
Now, you find that you do more repair work on those scenes before you start working
than the actual VFX work. I know,
because you have to create clean plates, which they never created on set. You have to create alternatives and also other assets that you would film on set that they didn't prepare for. They just give you their finished work. So it's always important that collaboration takes place very early in the production, so that you don't end up with footage you can't work with, and you end up repairing footage. I've had to do it plenty of times where I've got you know, there were no alternative takes to a scene. And I've had to sort of like maybe paint out microphones, paint out booms, paint out objects that weren't supposed to be in the scene before I start working on the actual VFX. Scenes with no track markers. So someone's shot something in slow-mo and someone's being shot. There's supposed to be blood splatter. It's supposed to hit the ground. The camera's rotating. The person's falling back. There's no pool of blood. So I've had to create everything from scratch. But first, I have to track the scene and work out what's the best object to track, because there are no markers on the ground. Now these are things, as a VFX artist on set, you would have put these things down, so it makes life easy for you in post.
Yeah, it reminds me of a project that I worked on as well. It was a TV commercial, and I was supposed to shoot the inside of the cockpit. And I remember we had this conversation, and there were a lot of things that we had to do when we were building that cockpit that at the end of the day I realized we wouldn't have had to do because of the input of the VFX team. And you know, I felt like if we had had more of those conversations, then there would have been that synergy in terms of what we were supposed to leave for the VFX and what we were supposed to build and provide on set. You know, and it speaks to what you're saying about things like the tracking marks, things like the right shot compositions that allow for compositing elements that will be brought in.
And the thing is, you also have the opportunity to talk to production designer and the set team about putting up green screens for you. Covering, like last project we had to cover a whole building.
Green. No, blue. Blue. And then we talked about the sizes, because we brought a variety of sizes. 8 feet by 8 feet, 12 feet by 12 feet, 20 feet by 20 feet, depending on the scale of the set extension that was going to be introduced in.
So these conversations cannot be had. The alternative is for you to in post, which could take a week, could take a few weeks, is cut out everyone frame by frame, which is called rotoscoping. Rotoscope every single person out of the scene before you can add your elements and then put them back on top, which doesn't kind of, you know, with the sort of like the fast pace of the industry and the short kind of deadlines, actually doesn't allow for you to do that work in like give the quality that you want to give. So you need to have those meetings before. You need to be on set to shoot. You need to be able to actually direct the VFX scenes. That makes it easier. So what I would tend to do is I'll let the director go through his blocking. He'll direct the scene as he wants to direct it, so I can see where the VFX elements work best. Then I'll direct the VFX part as well, and then those two things can be sandwiched together. That way we're able to work seamlessly with production design, director, producer, you know.
True. Thank you very much, Charlie, for coming through.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
That's all we have on this topic today. If you'd like to see more, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next episode.